Welcome to I Testify Conversation Station,
a podcast ministry that focuses on faith, friendship, and real talk.
Today's topic is striving for excellence.
Jepth, the last name being Lovo, and I'm joined today.
It's your girl Mel.
And it's your boy Thando.
Here is the quote of the day. It says, when imperfect people, are you imperfect? When imperfect people like us, like all of us seated on this panel, are devoted to serve a perfect God. That's a true definition of striving for excellence. So we're going to break down this conversation today into 3 parts. So what are those 3 parts? You might be wondering. Number 1, what is excellence? You see, there are a lot of definitions out there, but number 1, what is excellence? Number 2, why excellence? And then the last point is, how do I attain excellence? Or how do I strive for excellence? And we are going to start off today by a powerful passage of scripture right there in the Gospels, the book of Matthew. Mel.
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Verse 23, his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have strawed.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. Matthew 25, verses 14. We just read little bits of that parable. Some call it the parable of the talents. Some call it the parable of bags of gold. And the whole essence of that parable provides to us the backdrop behind this topic, striving for excellence. So we said we're going to start off, my dear friends, Mel, and Thando right there is with us. We have divided this conversation to 3 parts. What is excellence? What is excellence? As you guys have been preparing, are there some definitions that run through your mind? What is excellence?
Well, excellence I'll say my definition, not a dictionary definition. So it's something that you keep chasing. It's not a constant. It feels like it's once you attain excellence, you have to maintain it. So you cannot say that I have achieved excellence. You cannot hold it. It's something that you keep chasing over and over. So it's a dynamic variable. Nothing like it takes anything, like whatever state. Yeah.
Profound. Memo, let's hear from you.
Excellence is when you exhaust your energies within the sphere of your capabilities, or even given the resources and opportunities around you. Once you've exhausted your energies doing that, that is excellence. It's not limited to an award or a medal or a degree or diploma, but just given the opportunities and capabilities within your sphere, you exhaust your energies. That's excellence.
Excellent responses from my panelists, right? So we have just read this passage of scripture, Matthew 25. And you agree with me if you peruse through your Bible,
Right.
that just before Matthew 25, there is Matthew 24. The disciples come to Jesus. Jesus, how shall the end be? Jesus gives all these signs of the times, as we've come to call them. But it's so interesting that he shifts the gears from signs of the times to say, well, don't be so much fascinated about what will happen when I'm coming, but what will you be doing before I come?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is excellence? You see, individually in the world, people have been defining excellence. Timen gave us a philosophical definition of excellence, where he says it's trying to go beyond the status quo, is trying to go beyond your comfortable state. But to the young people today, maybe who are watching, what is excellence maybe from the view of the church? Are there some stuff that when you do in the church you have considered, you're considered to have excelled? Maybe let's dialogue on that. Are there some things that as you do in the church as a young person, you are considered as a person of excellence?
I think the church equates, for instance, the role of like an elder or a deacon. They equate certain roles with spirituality, level of spirituality. And I think that sometimes can get into the minds of young people to act a certain way and to do and say certain things in the environment of the church so that they look as if their spirituality is getting better, increasing, so that you're able to fulfill specific roles. But the question is that really excellence? To look like the part, but not be the character of the part.
Jesus.
That's true. I actually see it most of the times. We tend to like do activities in church, right? For the sake of doing them. You know, like
what activities?
We can be
like what?
We can be like musicians.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let me just say it. We can be musicians, right? And then we just say, yeah, we'll just sing. People will hear the words. People will hear the words, right? Nothing else. But we forget the fundamental parts of music, like sound, things like that, right? Like the silence between the notes, harmony, the quality of tone, right? Like how do you, things like that. We don't think about them. We just say, yeah, let's just go and sing. People will hear us. So those things, right? Like at the end of the day, they kind of affect our level of like attaining excellence. So we choose to remain mediocre because we are afraid to fail or to choose to do the harder things, right? We are afraid of failing because, you know, that's how it is at some point.
You know, I've been waiting for that word to come up in this conversation, mediocrity, to be mediocre.
Yes.
Let's run to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 9 to 10. They have defined to us what is perceived as excellence, maybe in the church setting, maybe in the world setting. We'll also look at that in a little bit. But it's interesting to note in Ecclesiastes that the unique contributions given by people individually are not a new thing in the world. So it's difficult then to quantify and to qualify what is excellence when Ecclesiastes says what we are about to hear. So wait for it. Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9 to 10.
Says the thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. So, yeah.
Mercy. Repeat that last part.
It says, is there
verse 10,
anything?
verse 10.
Verse 10. It says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before.
As I'm listening to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9 and 10, it says to me, there's nothing new under the sun. We are still under the first part. What is excellence? So in a world where people think I'm bringing something new, we can just say things are recycled.
Preach.
But let me not get ahead of myself as we digest this text. As you're listening, I want you to digest the text, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9 to 10. The gist of the matter is, whatever you do today, yes, you might be striving for excellence,
But it's been done.
but there's nothing new. It has been done before. Where do you get the energy to go for something new when the Bible is saying it has been done before? What are some things? We talk about some things in the church that maybe have been leveled as this person has attained excellence. But in the world,
Right.
looking at the secular world outside the church as we might know it, the religious sphere, what are some things that could be deemed that Timen, Manyoni, these guys are par excellence? What are some things that cross your mind?
Attaining money, like being seen as a successful person with money, right? Like you drive new cars, you have a good house, things like that, right? Like usually the world's forms of success or excellence, like attaining excellence. So yeah.
Okay.
You have, PhDs, your masters, certification. Certain certification puts you on a certain level of status. You have even marriage is seen as something that's huge, being like the ideal family, Instagram couple, little chilled, everything is working in your favor, YouTube stars, that's success, your mansions, all those things.
Yeah. And also
subscribers, followers, likes. T-Man, you wanted to say something?
And also being seen with successful people, right?
Wow.
Yeah, you don't have to be, but you have to be seen with them. That's the thing.
And it's interesting to note, let me preach this thing real quick, that there were some people who walked with Jesus because they thought the man was successful.
Preach.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there. But Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9, as we wrap up the first part of what is excellence, it tells us that whatever we do, bear in mind that it's nothing out of this world, so to say. Yes, it's good for us to commend other people when they do well. But the bottom line is all of these things somehow have been done. But that, remember I put but that does not stop you from attaining and striving for excellence. So as you're listening today, be thinking, what is excellence? Be thinking, what is excellence? How can I move from the state that I'm in to the next step? Why excellence is the next part of our conversation. Why excellence? Remember, I've given you that part there in Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. It seems like Solomon, the wise man, is saying, don't worry. There's nothing new that you have done that I don't know about, or nothing new in the 21st century that they didn't do in the 18th century. T-Man talked about musicians in the church, how sometimes we get comfortable with just giving the word, but we don't tighten up the harmonies. Why excellence? Why excellence? As you guys are here, let's delve into that. Why excellence?
Why excellence? You mentioned before in Matthew chapter 24, he's preaching about these signs of the times and whatnot. Then 25, he switches to like you were saying, what are you going to be doing during that time? That's what's important. You need to identify what your mission, what your purpose is in the world as a Christian. And what Christ is trying to tell us is by your gifts and your talents are the channel in which you're going to live your purpose. But your purpose is to reveal, resemble, and reflect me. And so that's what you're going to be doing in the meantime. So when we talk about why excellence, I'm striving for excellence because I'm revealing the most excellent person ever.
That's right.
So who am I reflecting? And not just that, but even the Bible tells us we walk in the Spirit. Who's the Spirit? The Spirit of truth, the Spirit of who? Christ. I am representing who he is, and I'm dying to my sinful flesh. So I'm striving for excellence, not in just what I attain, and not just my gifts and my talents, but my character, which is what I mentioned before. It's the character that's what makes you excellent. The character of your work. Daniel had an excellent spirit. He was able to go from being in Babylon to still being a ruling member, even when the Median, the Persian people came. So you maintain your level of rulership or excellence because you have an excellent character.
Wow. Amazing. Which is, so at the end of the day, generally, I would say why we should attain excellence is we basically have a purpose, as Mel says. As a person, I need to have a purpose in life. That's why I was born, to live that purpose, right? But sometimes it takes us a lifetime to discover that purpose. So that's why sometimes, right, in our lives, we should figure out what we're good at. Let's not follow the trends. Let's figure out what we're good at. If you're not good at something, it shouldn't stop you from trying it. Fail, but don't keep failing, because if you fail, obviously you will not succeed, right?
No, I think you can keep failing. No, but go ahead.
Serious? Okay, whatever. I think that's the best thing. But if you fail, right?
Yeah.
You might not succeed, right? But have a limit to what extent are you going to keep failing, right?
True.
So that you can move on to other things.
Right.
Yeah, because you spend the rest of your life
Preach.
trying to figure out,
Yeah.
like, what am I supposed to do, right?
Yes.
Interesting remarks right there from our panelists. You know, as I'm looking at why excellence, it's interesting to me that each of us have to have that originality in ourselves. You see, you can't try and be like Mel.
Yes.
And what Timon is saying right there, he has a different view. But why excellence is important is to sit here and to have a dialogue with him and still understand that he's him sharing his thoughts as he's inspired to do so. And that's what excellence allows us to do. One of my favorite preachers says, the world is looking right now for people who are not going to think outside the box. People are not just going to think inside the box, but people are even going to break the box and make a new box altogether. And I think that's originality, because
Yes.
why excellence is important to us. It helps us to understand that each and every one of us have been created for a purpose.
Preach.
I think Mel touched on that earlier on. It's Ellen G. White in the book Education. She says true education is that prepares one for the joy of service. But here is the close right there. Not just the joy of service on earth, but the joy of service in the world to come. Jesus in Luke says, occupy till I come.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why excellence is important. Further down in one of her books, Ellen G. White says, even in heaven, there's going to be levels according to those who are going to be given responsibilities.
Right.
If you're able to attain excellence here, don't think that when we are all going to be changed and your dwarfism, we are not looking down upon anybody here. But if you on earth had a less responsibility and you are failing to attain excellence and strive for excellence, don't think that Jesus is going to do some magic. Even in heaven, you'll be there at your left. This is the spirit of prophecy. I'm not making this one up. So striving for excellence is not only an earthly thing.
Excellence isn't limited to a standard of man by achievement and accomplishment, but rather, like I said, given what
Your
God
best.
has given you. He gave some 1 talent, 1, 2 talents. That didn't make you greater in the kingdom, but he expects with the more that he gives you, you
invest.
live out to that. So
Yeah.
excellence is living to the potential in which you were created.
That's right.
And also, from what I see, is that you don't attain excellence on your own sometimes. That's the other thing. You need other people to help you. It's a cooperative type of way
Okay.
to live, right? It's like life is a long game. It's not like right now, I'll do it and I'll get it, right? You're not winning. It's not about winning. It's about grouping with people who lead you in a certain direction, right? And that way you can attain excellence. You can do it on your own. That's okay. That's still fine. People still do it. But there's still other people who will be helping you from the back, like the background. Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Some contributions from our panelists. It's getting heated here. Let me wipe my face. Why excellence? Why excellence? Let me give you a story. There was a young Jesus' death on the cross. We believe in Jesus' death on the cross as excellence. Jesus could have sat in heaven and said, oh, let me command the salvation of humanity. But his death on the cross becomes the ultimate
Yes.
reward, the ultimate price paid for our salvation.
Yeah.
So as we are serving a God who we believe died for us, a God who did not only remain in the tomb, a God who also resurrected, and a God who, by the way, is coming again for us, it is only prudent for us to strive for excellence. That is why we should be striving for excellence.
Yeah.
Just hearing that makes you even want to be better. Because I am so worthy enough. Or he saw me and he said, I can put my life on the line for her. It becomes personal. And so why can't I live out to the best of my ability? Or the life that he's given me. If he could do that for me, and he is God, this is not a man, this is God, then as a man, why can't I just do the little that he's given me? He hasn't given me everything. He didn't ask me to do everything. But he said, given whatever capability I can give you, whatever life I give you, just do the best you can and reflect me. Why can't I do that? So it becomes personal. If you're willing to do that for me, then I can just give it back to you with the little that I have. It's not worth much, but it's just to say thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, and also the whole idea of him coming to this earth, being born as a child, learning from, like, being taught every single thing, like from Genesis, everything, like the Torah, whatever. It's like everything has been planned, right? Like he has been following all this throughout his life. Those 3 years that he spent on earth, walking, preaching, it's like he had focused so much of his energy into helping the lost human race, and people were not seeing it, right? So the other thing is that he continued doing what he wanted to do for people, even though people still rejected him. That's some level of excellence where people still talk about you
Yeah.
But you keep
2,000
going.
years later,
Yeah.
Hello.
right? And you only did this for 3 years.
Wow. Hey, I've never thought about that
I
one.
never thought about it like that.
Hi, that
Wow. Hello.
Yeah.
If you're listening, just say hallelujah right there in the comments. Jesus' ministry, 3.5 years. But 2,000 years later, we are still here. And we will be here if it delays coming, talking about what he did. Why excellence? We're going to transition right now to how to strive for excellence. We've talked about what is excellence, why excellence,
Yes.
but how? Because there's a young person there who's saying, give me the practical.
Yeah.
Now you have talked, you've given me
Yes.
the outline, the skeleton, but let's put
Yes.
some meat onto this whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's something that I love right there as I'm talking about how to strive for excellence that Timon has put together, that Jesus started. How to strive for excellence, start. You want to know how to strive for excellence, start.
Hello.
I don't know what you're starting. Is it a channel to show us how to bake? You see, my cooking skills, I still need redemption. But if you want to teach us something, if you want to go into engineering, if you want to go into nursing, whatever you want to do, you can't become without starting.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
fundamental of it all, the basic. Start.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah.
Jump in, start.
If we look at Matthew 25, the parable,
Yeah.
in verse 23, it says, his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I'll make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. The equation of success is human effort plus divine power is
That's right.
success, right?
Yeah.
But with the human effort, all God is asking us to do is, if you are faithful in the little things, if you can't make your bed every morning, you can't expect to be the best thing, the best thing since sliced bread.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're faithful in the little things, treating somebody, in a nice way, your response when you're offended, if you cannot show your character
Yeah.
and be obedient in those little things, you can't expect God and his mercy and his love with the condition upon every fulfillment of his promise to
Yeah.
give you those promises if you can't just do that. So in order, it says, humble yourself before the Lord and he will lift you up.
That's right.
Amen.
Do the little, and because you're faithful in the little,
Yeah.
he'll qualify you so that you can take care of more. So sometimes some of us are stuck not because of what we cannot do, but what we fail to do.
Start.
You get what, which is
Yeah.
start.
Start.
And not just start,
Yeah.
but your start might not be the degree and the diploma.
Yeah.
Your start might be how you treat the people in your home.
Wow.
Because I can't make you a doctor to take care of patients
Jesus.
when you can barely get along with your siblings and respect your parents.
Yeah.
How am I going to trust the most vulnerable people in your hands when you fail to do that? You're a disciple at home before you're a disciple in the world.
Yeah. Wow.
And so that's the
That's
importance of excellence. Be faithful in the few, and I will make you ruler over the
Over
much.
many. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. So basically, as she has said, to start, right? Like, start from home.
Yeah.
Start. So the other thing is that, like, don't just start one thing too. We often look at these parables and we see ourselves as the what? As the servants.
Yes.
As the people who are receiving.
Yeah.
Right? As the people who are supposed to like invest and do all that, right? I was thinking, let's look at ourselves as the master who is giving these talents to all these people, right? Those people as businesses or as like things that you want to do in life. So the first person, like the first venture, let's say you're starting something, you give it to it's like maybe you invest in something, like it could be in school, you can succeed. It can like replenish, it can bring out more talent, right? Like maybe extra 5, as it says in the Bible. And then you take that and give it to another venture, right? And then you say maybe you are doing like photography or you are an artist, right? You can succeed too.
Yeah.
There are some things that you might not succeed in. Things like maybe music, right?
Yeah.
Things like maybe just being an athlete. So those are the things that are like the one talent that was given to that other person who hid it and put it aside. You don't want those things to be seen, right? But still, if they are seen, you are looking at it across the board as how many things you have tried in life that have actually succeeded and some things that have failed. So if you look at yourself as the master in all these parables that we're reading, like that's how you start.
Preach.
There's a quote that I love right here that says, remember, you're not growing young. So start today or die regretting. So for our young people, this quote speaks volumes because you are not going to get a grander opportunity or a better opportunity than the now that you have. And even when that special opportunity comes, when you blow up, for those who are artists, trying to doing this celebrity thing, celebrities don't just wake up and they are celebrities.
No.
Even that guy who is now singing, I'm the goat, mayor. No, he was doing the goat before you saw that video. And even Jesus, Timon talked about Jesus' ministry. 3.5 years, but you have to realize that he was 30 when he starts that ministry. All along, when he goes into conversation with Pharisees, he goes into dialogue before maybe the baptism and everything, he was preparing. So he had started. And when the opportunity came, it was like, boom, chakalak.
Right there.
Yes.
It's not always the case where you look at yourself as the receiving servant, but you could be also the giving. By the way, that's not heresy. That means the person who has given also got to a position where he could give.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
in the bigger scope of it, we understand God being the sovereign creator who gives. But he says, I have created you in my image and given you dominion
Hello.
and the power. I feel like standing up, but I'm confined here. And the power to subdue the earth.
Yes.
Subduing doesn't mean that you only have one camera if you're a content creator. Subduing means you go into Best Buy without any money in your pocket and you say, I need to subdue. They'll give you a quotation. You start grinding. If you're a person who wants to create more content, if you're a young person who wants to go maybe into ministry, you don't wait to go and learn Greek and everything when you are failing 1+1. Start subduing 1+1
Nice.
so that you
Yeah.
can get to the difficult subjects. What do you have in your hands? That's another way to understand how to strive for excellence.
Yes.
First you start, and then you realize what you have. Comment on that one. What do you currently have? Are there some things young people that they have that they don't use?
I think from looking at this, it's like sometimes we often look at things in the future, like we look at life as it should be instead of life as it is right now. So if we focus on life as it should be, we'll always procrastinate on starting. So at the end of the day, even the things that we have right now, like we won't even see them. They'll just pass us by.
Yes.
So because we're focused on what should be, right?
There are negative stuff, there's positive stuff. But one of the ways in trying to overcome failure is to understand that I'll make it.
Yes.
Positivity.
Yes.
Positive.
Yes.
So which means those you surround yourself with, may they not be negative people.
Yes.
Don't
No.
do negative vibes.
Yeah.
On Instagram, if there are people negative, block. I'm a pastor. I'm giving you
Unfollow.
the affirmation. Block those people who are negative. Because you need people who are going to empower you when you fail. They are not going to step on you, but they're going to say, we are seeing your grind and your hustle.
Yeah.
Keep marching on. Keep going forward.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you want to keep in your life, in your quest to
Yes.
strive for excellence. And all these things tying together. We talked about starting. We talked about what you have. We talked about limitations, overcoming limitations. We also talked about consistency. Now we are talking about overcoming failure. For you to overcome failure, you need to understand that I'm not only doing this for the now, but there's somewhere that I need to go where I'm not currently at, but I know I'm going to get there.
Yeah. So just to add on to that, like he said, you got to understand what your failures are. And as Christians, you got to understand what is at stake. My salvation is on the line.
Yeah.
When you start looking at life through spirit, in the spiritual sense, spiritual things are spiritually discerned, you understand I have an adversary, the devil, who's looking for whom he can devour.
Yeah.
And if I don't play my cards right, my eternal salvation is on the line. So on everything that I do, we had mentioned before, we are reflecting Christ. That is my why.
That's right.
I'm here because the purpose is to what? Lead others to him. How? By who I am and my service to them. So when you can do though, when your purpose is those two things, service to others and resembling Christ's character, everything you do will be excellence. You may not have the PhD. You may never get there.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You are excellent within your sphere. You are in his image because you are able to do those two things. So how is just a channel. What and why or why is what's most important.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Mel took the words out of my mouth, but they say great minds, they think alike. Because I have it right here. As we're moving from overcoming failures, we're going to end with strength to strength. Because striving for excellence, just like Thando said earlier on, that when you strive for excellence, you use the special word, mediocrity.
Yes.
You are afraid. If there's anything you should be afraid of in this life, is mediocrity. Once you feel like I've settled, wake up from the bad dream and say, I'm going to pull up my socks from strength to strength. That's where I need to be. Ephesians 3 verse 20, I'm going to end with Ephesians 3 verse 20. It says, now to him, who is able. Do you know who is able to do far more than we can ever think or imagine through the power that works within us? As we're talking about striving for excellence, what is excellence? Why excellence? How to strive for excellence? It means that after all is said and done, after you have learned, after you have put to practice, after you have accomplished, after they have called you up at your job and given you a promotion, that's not the end. If the boss says any few words that you want to give, you tell them, I'm hungry. I need more. Strength to strength. Ephesians 3 verse 20 says, I can only give to those who want more because God is able to give far more than we can ever ask or imagine. And I like what Mel said, that at the end of the day, when you feel like failing, when you don't know how to start, when you don't know what is excellence, remember that God is the why. Remember that God is the why to keep you going and never settle for mediocrity. It has been good. Right here on your favorite station, I Testify. I don't know if my friends want to chime in with a little bit of some few comments. But if not, you are still one of our panelists in the comments. Let us know how you feel about the session. Keep in tune, share this video, subscribe, and tell your other families to tell other people to subscribe. And good friends of I Testify Conversation, until we meet again, don't do anything that I wouldn't do. If you do it better. May God bless you. Hallelujah.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Available on all podcast platforms.